Hi, I'm Will, and it's just me this time. Punchy and I have just covered a whole playthrough of Freedom Planet as it was released, but there's a whole lot more we can go over, from old beta builds of Freedom Planet, all the way back to the developer Strife's first game. For the next few videos, I'm going to be talking about and playing games from Strife's earlier days. His freeware catalog, that is to say all of his games predating Freedom Planet, consists of 10 games, mostly of the platform and/or shooter variety. Not all of them are finished, and unfortunately only half of those games can be easily downloaded. Nevertheless, these games are more than enough to shed some light on how Strife grew as a developer through trial and error. I'll be covering these games in a sort of chronological order, so in this video I'll be showing two fairly lightweight games, Mars Defender and Chrysalis 5. Let's start with Mars Defender. Mars Defender is an incredibly basic arcade game that is both platformy and shooty. It has one music track, one level, and one type of enemy that goes through a few different forms. You have to shoot down aliens from flying saucers, then shoot them again, or run over them, before they parachute down and walk away to safety. The main way this game gets some leverage out of its simple mechanics is by having a pretty decent number of bonus types, which cover the gamut from skillful play, like juggling a falling alien, to more risky options, like jumping close to a UFO and then destroying it. Even so, once you've seen about a minute of gameplay, you've mostly seen it all, so I'm going to pull the game out of focus for a little bit to talk about some other relevant bits of Strife's history. While I can't use the Wayback Machine to download Strife's oldest games, I can at least use it to open up a cached version of his old web space. Yes, his old handle was Cyberfreak, and it ended up getting changed because some online games didn't really want users registering with the word cyber in their name. On this single-page site, we can get a look at Strife's old compositions. While I think that his abilities in music lag behind his skills in art and game design, it's clear that he has enough of an understanding to support the creation of a soundtrack, and when it comes to building a game with a single vision, that kind of experience can be helpful. Anyway, as long as we're here, we might as well play one of these songs, so how about, Dreamstream? That apparently was Strife's favorite. So, the Daily Click, or TDC, is a website dedicated to games created in the click-and-play game engine, as well as its spiritual successor, Multimedia Fusion. Strife's very first game submission to the Daily Click was a space shooter game called Star Angel, released in August of 2003, about 14 years ago. He followed up a few months later with Alien Conflict, which, if the description is any indication, was probably something like an even simpler version of Mars Defender. In March 2004, he released his first platformer, Astro Dude, and in May of that year released a puzzle game called Thin Ice. And then nothing really for about 5 years. Somewhere during this span, he created Mars Defender and made his own personal remix of Chrysalis 5, an older game made in click and play, but these games weren't released on TDC until another two projects, Jade Phoenix and Fable Quest, were made public. While Mars Defender and Chrysalis 5 are very basic, Jade Phoenix and Fable Quest were Strife's most ambitious project at this point by a long shot. Jade Phoenix, even in its incomplete state, is a lengthy action platformer with over 30 levels, and Fable Quest was planned to have over 20 unique locations and a fairly large pool of skills and items. To refocus a bit on our little timeline, the beta for Jade Phoenix was submitted in July 2009, but Strife had been working on the game for over 3 years at this point. If I had to guess, I'd say it was a victim of burnout. While Fable Quest went through a change from Multimedia Fusion 2 to Construct, and then back to Multimedia Fusion 2, and so the project likely petered out sometime in 2011 as a result. Anyway, before I go any further, I need to die real quick, so let me do that. Alrighty. You might recognize the score counter sound here from Freedom Planet's intro as the text typing sound. Looks like I got a high score, so I might as well put in a name for that. Yeah. So that's Mars Defender. Next up, Chrysalis 5. Or, perhaps more accurately, Chrysalis 5 GalaxyTrail Remix. Chrysalis 5 was first made by a man named Richard Gale as one of several sample games packed in with Maxis Software's click-and-play game engine. The game was remade as a pack-in to Multimedia Fusion 2, but Strife went ahead and did his own take on the game because he felt that the pack-in version didn't truly showcase what the game engine was capable of. As for the game itself, Chrysalis 5 is a pretty standard-issue space shooter. Its most interesting mechanic is that you can build up currency to spend on incrementally better upgrades for your ship, but I'm pretty sure that's been done elsewhere. I'm not much of a space shooter fan myself. My personal strategy is to get a few speed ups, then go for triple shots. In this particular run, that strategy served me fairly well, but back to the history lesson. So this time for background music, let's play Cloud9 Jam. I've got a good feeling about this one. In 2010, Strife began and quickly finished two relatively short games, Super XD Panic and Christmas Time Heroes. Released in October of 2010, Super XD Panic is an action platformer that is fairly polished and completely nonsensical. It was crafted as a personal challenge for Strife to see if he could complete a full game within just a month. It wears Strife's influence from Mega Man on its sleeve, but also has a bit of influence from Super Mario Bros. Less than 2 months from the completion of Super XD Panic, Christmas Time Heroes was also made and then finished. Instead of being just a personal test, though, Christmas Time Heroes was made for a Christmas-themed competition. In this competition, games were scored on 5 factors: graphics, sound, gameplay, programming, and Christmassiness. With gameplay being weighted slightly heavier and Christmassiness slightly lighter, the max score per judge was 100, and with 3 judges, the overall points one could receive was 300. With a score of 267 out of 300 points, Christmas Time Heroes took first place in the competition, netting Strife a nice $250 from Click Team themselves. The game itself once again wears a Mega Man coat and tie, but it also shows a bit of that Gunstar Heroes flair that would later show itself in Freedom Planet. It wasn't until about a year or so later that Strife stopped working on Fable Quest, but yeah, those are all the games Strife worked on before Freedom Planet. Now, around that time, 2010 or so, the gears of Freedom Planet were already slowly starting to turn, but we'll leave that for another time. If you'd like, you're welcome to continue watching gameplay of Chrysalis 5 and listening to Cloud9 Jam, but I don't really have anything else left to say, so I'll see you next time with Jade Phoenix. Thanks for watching.